Growing up too fast can leave adults with childhood memory gaps and the feeling that important years disappeared. These gaps do not always mean something terrible happened, but they may reflect years spent adapting instead of being a child. While other children played and explored, you may have focused on reading moods, solving problems, and keeping life stable. Childhood can end quietly through hundreds of small responsibilities rather than one dramatic event. Memory may blur for many reasons, so forgetting childhood should not automatically be labeled trauma. When a child watches for danger and prioritizes others, less attention remains for personal experiences, joy, and safety. Subscribe to Thalvin Psychology for deeper insights into the hidden patterns shaping who you became. Growing up too fast does not always begin with one dramatic event. Sometimes it starts with cooking for younger siblings, comforting an exhausted parent, or standing between adults during arguments. A child may become the translator, the peacemaker, or the person who monitors every mood in the room. They do not choose these roles because they want responsibility. They accept them because it feels as if nobody else will. Helping at home is not automatically harmful, especially when tasks match the child's age and support is available. The problem begins when the responsibility is constant, refusal is not allowed, and the child's needs come last. Over time, the child may believe the family's safety depends on staying useful, calm, and in control. What looks like maturity may actually be a child carrying an adult burden. Psychologists use the term parentification when a child takes on roles and responsibilities that should belong to adults. These children are often praised for being mature, independent, understanding, responsible, and easy to manage. But that appearance of maturity may not come from healthy development. It may come from a nervous system that has learned to stay alert and function in crisis for too long. Instrumental parentification happens when a child manages practical duties such as cooking, caring for siblings, or handling household tasks. Emotional parentification happens when a child comforts a parent, keeps the peace, or absorbs adult emotional problems. This form can be harder to recognize because it may be hidden inside phrases like, "You are the only one who understands me." Not every responsible child is harmed. The impact depends on how long the role lasts, how intense it becomes, whether supportive adults are still available, and whether the child can refuse safely. People who grew up too fast often become skilled at reading emotions, noticing tension, and responding before conflict begins. They may predict unspoken needs, solve problems quickly, stay calm during crises, and take responsibility when everyone else feels overwhelmed. These abilities are real strengths, built through years of observation and adaptation. But it is important to distinguish empathy from hypervigilance. Empathy is the ability to understand and share another person's feelings. Hypervigilance is the constant monitoring of people and situations because danger feels possible at any moment. From the outside, both can look like emotional intelligence. Inside, however, hypervigilance often feels exhausting because the nervous system never relaxes. Someone may appear thoughtful, capable, and emotionally perceptive while remaining tense beneath the surface. Recognizing this difference allows us to respect the skills they developed without romanticizing the pressure that created them. People who grew up too fast can handle crises calmly, yet simple acts like resting, playing, or asking for help may feel difficult. They learned that if they stopped managing everything, something might fall apart. Because of that, relaxation may create anxiety instead of peace. They may feel guilty for doing nothing, uncomfortable without a plan, or embarrassed when they are imperfect. Letting someone else take responsibility can feel risky, even when that person is trustworthy. When there is no problem to solve, they may create more work or search for someone who needs rescuing. Physical rest is not always the same as nervous system safety. A person can lie in bed while the mind keeps scanning for danger, unfinished tasks, or signs that someone needs them. Healing begins when rest is practiced not as a reward for usefulness, but as a basic human need. When childhood love becomes connected to helping, fixing problems, and keeping everyone stable, adulthood may carry a belief, "I am valuable when I am useful." For some people, this can create attraction to unstable partners, people in crisis, or relationships where care flows in one direction. Being needed feels familiar because it resembles the role they learned early. Real intimacy may feel uncomfortable because it requires vulnerability, receiving support, and allowing someone else to see their needs. A steady partner may seem to lack chemistry because consistent love does not produce the tension their nervous system once associated with connection. Peace can be mistaken for boredom, while unpredictability can feel familiar. This pattern does not appear in everyone who experienced parentification, and it is not a failure. Healing begins by learning that being valued is different from being useful, and love does not have to be earned through emotional labor. People who grew up too fast often try to control every variable around them. They plan several steps ahead, imagine worst-case scenarios, and repeatedly question decisions that are already reasonable. Others may describe them as type A, perfectionistic, anxious, controlling, or inflexible. But beneath those behaviors may be a child who learned that unpredictability could mean danger. Healthy preparation helps a person act, adjust, and move forward. Anxiety-driven control keeps producing new scenarios even after enough information is available. The goal is not to stop planning altogether. It is to notice when planning becomes an attempt to eliminate every uncertainty. A useful question is, am I preparing for something likely to happen, or am I trying to guarantee that nothing unexpected can happen? That distinction can reveal whether control is serving the present or protecting an old fear. Awareness allows a calmer, more flexible response. People who grew up too fast often develop a complicated relationship with success. They may achieve impressive goals and still feel as though nothing is enough. An inner voice keeps demanding more, faster, better, and warns them never to depend on anyone or disappoint others. Their self-worth may have become tied to usefulness long before they understood what was happening. Society often rewards this pattern because productive, independent, low-maintenance people are easy to praise. They may earn promotions for taking on extra work, gain trust because they rarely complain, and become known as the person who always delivers. The paradox is that the world can reward the same coping mechanism that is exhausting them. Ambition itself is not the problem. The problem begins when achievement becomes the only way they feel worthy, safe, or lovable. Real growth means allowing success to be something they pursue, not something they must constantly use to prove their value. People who grew up too fast often become skilled at managing the emotional atmosphere around them. They calm conflict, anticipate reactions, help everyone feel comfortable, and hide their own feelings to keep situations from becoming heavier. Over time, this emotional labor becomes automatic. They may always be the first to repair tension, feel responsible when someone is upset, and monitor every gathering instead of enjoying it. They can become resentful after helping, yet still feel unable to stop. Even among friends, family, or coworkers, they may feel invisible because nobody sees how much effort goes into keeping everything smooth. They may secretly hope others will notice their exhaustion without being told. But people cannot respond to a need they do not know exists. Healing begins when they name what they feel, ask clearly and honestly for support, and allow relationships to include their own needs as well as everyone else's. Healing does not require denying your strength or blaming your family. It begins by admitting that parts of childhood were never lived. You may need to grieve the child who deserved to be messy, needy, playful, imperfect, and loved without earning it. Notice whether you help from care or from fear that saying no will make you unwanted. Practice naming one need before exhaustion takes over. Let other people carry responsibility for their own problems and emotions. Allow yourself to receive support without trying to repay it. This may feel awkward because you are becoming a beginner at being cared for. If anxiety, isolation, hopelessness, or exhaustion continues, seeking support is a sign of courage, not weakness. The child who held everything together did an extraordinary job surviving, but that child does not have to carry the whole world anymore. Subscribe to Thalvin Psychology for deeper insights into healing the hidden patterns that shaped you. Thank you for watching and supporting Thalvin Psychology. Please subscribe, and let's keep exploring the psychology deep within us together.